Hi, Noah. Welcome to being. We're so excited to have you here. I don't even have the words are not coming out of my mouth.
Thank
we're
you.
so proud of you, and we're so happy that you agreed to do this interview.
Of course.
So, you're a survivor of human trafficking.
Yes.
So tell because I know your story.
Yes.
But a lot of the viewers, nobody knows your story.
Exactly. Yes.
So tell us from the beginning. Start from the beginning.
Okay, so I was adopted at the age of 2 by two lovely people. I'm also a twin, and my adopted parents, they are actually white. So it was an interracial adoption, and I grew up with a lot of questions. I grew up wondering why I didn't look like my parents, why whenever my parents went into my school, people would, say who are your parents? Those aren't your parents. And at an early age, I realized I was different, I was more what they would say girly, and I realized that I was gay at an early age, and I was made fun of for that. So I just grew up being bullied, tormented, emotionally abused, and it got to a point where I was in, I believe, the ending of 6th grade. After I turned 13, I turned to social media for friends. I didn't have any. And I realized I was gay. And I turned to a social media app, and I found a guy who said he was my age, actually 3 years older than me, 16. And he wasn't. We agreed to meet up at a park, and there I freaked out because, I was expecting someone who was my age, and it turned out to be a 36-year-old African-American male, really, really tall. And I remember he sexually assaulted me at the park on a picnic bench. And he told me from that day on that he wanted me to work for him. And I didn't really understand fully what he meant. But, he kind of filled that void.
Let me interject
Yeah,
for
of course,
a moment.
of course.
Take us back, because I want people to understand.
Yes.
Take us back about when you said he sexually assaulted you.
Yes.
Tell the viewers what happened exactly.
So...
And how old is this man again?
36.
36.
And
And you're 13.
I'm 13. I had just turned 13.
Okay. So take us back to the park and tell us what happened.
Yes. So I remember sitting down at the bench, and he called my name because at first I didn't know who he was. I thought it was the police officer or somebody, security of the park. And I remember him kissing me. I just remember his tongue being in my mouth, and I didn't know what to do. I remember.
Did you try to push him away?
Oh yeah, I tried to push him away. I didn't. I froze. I froze. And I remember him pulling down my pants, pulling down his pants, and he performed oral sex on me. And I just remember it feeling so uncomfortable. I remember getting mosquito bites and just freaking out. I prayed to God in that moment, what's happening? Please save me. It was just a really weird feeling because I was just wanting a friend. I just wanted someone to tell me what it was I was, and he ended up.
And you also freeze in these situations.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember when I was raped.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what was happening.
Exactly.
I kind of froze.
Yeah.
I didn't know what is this really happening?
Yeah, I thought it was a dream. The next
Right?
morning, I woke up and I was like, "Was I dreaming? Did
you
this actually happen?"
Black out.
Yeah.
You don't understand that. Is this really real?
Exactly.
Is this actually happening to
Exactly.
me? Okay, so then what happened?
So he talks to me a little bit, and it's the first time someone sees me. It felt like he calls me beautiful, and I had dreams of being a model, and he was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I can show you off to a few of my friends." So from there, initiation happens. He puts an ad on Craigslist about me, using a photo of me at the age of 13, and a man responds, and he responds. He picks me up from my house a couple nights later, and he picks me up. We go to his apartment, and he rapes me. We go into the apartment basement. I remember it just being a cold concrete floor, and I just remember him putting his tongue in my mouth, and I froze again, and he just raped me, turned me around, and I told him hey, I'm not comfortable with this, He rapes me for about a good hour and a half, and I remember going to school the next day, and I couldn't walk. I really couldn't walk. I remember it was a performing arts school, and we had many flights and stairs, and just remember not being able to walk.
And you're 13.
I'm 13, and it was so violent that.
So the trafficker was putting these ads
Exactly, up for
you.
me. Exactly.
And what were the ads? Give our viewers an idea what kind of ads are posted. What did the ad look like?
So at the age of 13, I didn't really understand what they were. You know, it was like younger for
What
mature.
were you wearing?
You know, it was just like, I remember the photo was just me in a tank top, and then he would post other people's pictures, which were naked images of like what I possibly could look like, you know, because I hadn't taken any nude photos.
So he was using stock images.
Exactly.
Okay.
And he would do like young virgin or like 420, which at that age I didn't know what that was. So it was just all these random numbers and words, and I just remember looking at the ad like, this is disgusting, you know. It would be married men, you know, responding. It was the guy who actually raped me for the first time, you know, took my virginity. He was a part of the army. He was going into the army like a few days later. So I always tell people, human trafficking is not a poor man's sport, you know. After that, I was officially like pimped out, trafficked out to my first buyer, which was actually a police officer.
So the first person that you were sold to
exactly
was a police officer.
Exactly. So after initiation was the police officer, yes.
Okay, and so the trafficker was taking all this money?
Yeah, so I had never seen money.
So who would pay so they're Johns?
Yes, exactly.
Right, they're
exactly.
Johns. So the John would pay who the money? The trafficker?
Yeah, my pimp. Yes, my
Okay.
trafficker, my pimp.
Okay.
And that happened first, and I just remember thinking like, who can I trust now? You know, this is the police officer, the person that I'm supposed to call when I'm in trouble.
Right.
Who am I supposed to trust? You know, and I was always a good child. So, you know, this went on for a while because my parents didn't catch on, because like I would, if I had me as a child, you know, if I was a parent and I had me as a child, I wouldn't think of anything because I was a straight A student, you know. I was a great kid. It's just I was lonely and I didn't know who I was. So after the police officer, I kind of black out. And I remember there was a bunch of times I was just pimped out, raped, sold.
Where were you being sold? Was it hotels? Were you going to people's apartments? Were you sent to people's houses?
So
what were some of your clientele? Who were these Johns?
Yes, so I was given a track phone.
Okay.
And basically what would happen is I would get a text at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning, and they were like, okay, I need you to leave from your parents' house, sneak out. However, I would sneak out. And I would go outside, and just a random guy would pick up. And I didn't know where I would be going. I don't know who he was. I would never see him. So it would happen in cars. It would happen outside at parks. It would happen wherever they took me, which could be their homes. I remember even one time going to a house and seeing a man and his family, like in the pictures. You know, he had daughters. And I just remember thinking, like, how is he doing this to me? You know, I'm the age of possibly his daughters. He had a wife, you know, in the picture. So
you mentioned when you and I first met,
yes.
we spoke, you mentioned that you were sold to women as well.
Yes. So
tell us about that.
Yes. So I was picked up by a guy, African-American male, and we went to a drug house. And I remember seeing, like, there were 2 African-American men, 2 white guys, and then I believe another female there present as well. And for the first couple, and I was 15 at this time, they were just shooting up for like 3 hours. I didn't know what they were doing. I was such a good kid. I was like, what are they doing? I knew it was drugs, but I could just look at their arms and they had scabs and scars, and they took forever trying to get the needle in because they had done it. Exactly. It was a drug house. So I remember looking at them and they could tell I was nervous. So they gave me drugs too.
They shot you up as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
Then I just remember kind of just fading. I remember it felt like I was dancing almost. I just remember wobbling a little bit. I fell onto the mattress, which was on the floor, and I just remember they all raped me, men and women. Men and women, all different races, and these were people that I always say you could have seen on the streets, like at the grocery store. And so from the ages of 13 to 15, I ended up having 3 3 traffickers in total.
Right. You mentioned your parents.
Yeah.
So
yes.
are these your biological parents?
So I was adopted.
You were adopted.
Yes. So
did you ever go up to your mom and dad and say that, look, this is happening to me?
No.
Because you were terrified.
I was terrified. I remember they would.
What were the things that the traffickers? Because I want parents to understand why the children don't approach the parents and confide in them.
Yes.
What are some of the threats that these traffickers tell the victims?
That we're gonna kill you. They knew everything. They knew what school I went to. They knew my parents' name. I have a twin. They knew his name at the time. They knew my little sister's name, and I just got so scared. Like, I have to protect them, I felt as if I was to blame. I got myself into this mess, and I can't let my family find out because those are the people I love.
Right.
I had another pimp who was a little more harsh, what you would call more like a guerrilla pimp almost. And he really scared me because he raped me with a gun. So I just remember just like, I couldn't, He put the gun inside of me and he threatened me. He said, if you tell anybody, I will shoot you just like this.
When you say he put the gun inside of you, what do you mean?
Like he put the gun inside my butt, basically.
Anally?
Yeah, anally. He raped me with a gun.
So you were sold from the age of 13
to 16.
To 16.
To 16, yes.
Can you give us an estimate
of how many
people, from men and women, were you sold to, roughly, from the age of 13 to 16?
I almost want to say over 100 times. I kind of lost count, but I want to say 100 to 150, possibly 175 at max. That's kind of what my brain allows me to think about. But I will say that I do remember some of the worst situations. Like, my brain doesn't remember. I don't allow myself to remember everything.
Well, we block it out.
Exactly.
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 So tell me something that was just
so traumatic. So I want to say the drug house was one of them, but then afterwards it was the trap house. And
What's a trap house?
So
I know what that is.
Yeah.
For our viewers,
yeah. It's kind of like where a bunch of victims kind of live. I don't even, because we don't live, it's not like we want to. We're forced to stay there.
Right.
A lot of people that are drugged up there. A lot of people who are immigrants.
Right.
So with my time there, I remember I got picked up by 2 strange men, very, very tall men. I always say again, human trafficking is not a poor man's sport, and I believe that they could have been athletes. I remember they were very, very tall. They wore all black. They drove me, and on the car way there, they blindfolded me. So I don't remember where we went, but I believe it was downtown St. Louis. And I remember getting into this abandoned building, and we walked all these flights of stairs up to the top, and then we had to go to an elevator all the way up to the top floor. When we got there, I remember seeing like 7-year-old girls, immigrants, just all like outside of doors, drugged up. These little kids drugged up. And we went to this room. These 2 men brought me to this room, and we get into this room, and there's another boy there. And he tells me that he ran away from home because he came out to his parents, and they kicked him out.
Right.
And he was locked up in the bathroom, handcuffed to like one of the metal things on the bathtub. And he had all these cuts and scars on his body. And I just knew at that moment, if I don't get out, I'm going to die. I just knew it. Like, there was something in my gut saying, you know what, you have to run.
You have to get out.
Yeah, so they took a smoke break like usual. They went back to I don't know where they went, but I just knew I had to run. So I ran. And I ran all the way to a 7-Eleven. Like, I didn't stop. I don't know how long I was running, probably for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And I get to a 7-Eleven. And at this point, I'm groomed. I know when people are looking at me. At this point, I knew how to prostitute. I knew how to use what it was that I was learned how to do.
Survival sex?
Exactly.
Right.
So I had to have survival sex to get home. So I found these two guys outside of a car, and they were looking at me. You know, I was dressed in a tight-fitted tank top and shorts, exposing basically my butt. And I remember them looking at me and talking, and I was like, okay, Noah, you know, walk up over there and say what you need, which I needed a ride home. And I was forced to provide them oral sex for a ride home. But I made it home, and, you know, I was like, okay. But after that, the next day they showed up at my school, my pimps, all three of them, after play practice, because I was in a play. And they said, if you ever do that, we will kill you and your family. And they cut me. They cut me on my wrist. And they said, next time it'll be deeper too.
So this is a very important point that I would like our viewers to understand. If I had $1 for every time someone asks, why can't a human trafficking victim escape or run away or walk out, or a domestic violence victim walk away, we wouldn't need to do fundraisers.
Yes.
Because this is a completely ignorant question.
Yes.
It's an inane question, and it infuriates me to no end.
Yes.
Because they threaten you to kill you,
Yeah.
and they will kill you. And if they don't kill you, they will kill your family members. So there are so many elements as to why victims do not walk out and leave.
Exactly.
Now, let me ask you another question.
Of course.
All these years that you were sold for
Yes.
sex,
Yes.
were any of them using protection?
No. You know, there were some married guys who would. I remember people that, you know, wanted to protect themselves and what they were doing. But after that incident, I ran away from home. Mm-hmm. So right after that incident, I just was like, I have to save myself. So I ran away from home. I had survival sex to live, like not live, but stay somewhere for nights. So my plan was to sleep with a person every single night until I got where I needed to go.
Right.
So I end up turning myself in because I felt, you know, I wanted to be home with my family. I didn't want to run away. I ended up turning myself into at a hospital. Like the security guards, you know, they take me. I tell them I'm missing. And they take me to a mental facility. Because at this time, no one knows what's going on. They just know Noah ran away. Noah's having sex all the time. What's going on with Noah? So they test me, and I come back HIV positive at 15.
Oh, my God. I'm so sorry. I am so, so sorry.
And I just remember, I know the person who gave it to me. He's still walking free. I remember I confronted him, and he just laughed. He said, no, I didn't. I said, yes, you did. He said, oh, okay. And just remember the doctors saying, you know, you have HIV. And I really didn't know what that was. I just knew not to get it. My pimps, my traffickers would always say, if you get that, we're done. We're cutting you off. Because it's like a liability. You know, if you have a good or a product that you're selling, and if it expires or it goes bad or if it gets damaged, you know, they can't sell it anymore.
Right. So what happened then?
So after that, I go to basically a residential safe place for me, where I'm sexually assaulted again. You know,
so you go to a safe space.
Exactly.
And you end up staying there for how long?
6 months. I go there twice, and I end up staying there for, I want to say 7 to 8 months in total.
So the irony of the safe space is where they're sexually abusing you.
Exactly.
Again.
I would have other male residents, you know, they were sticking brooms up my butt. They were sexually assaulting me. They would say, I had the staff there. They were racist, so they would be like, I can't wait to kill you. You know, I would like to kill your kind. They would call me the N-word. They would say I'm going to hell because I'm gay. And I retaliated, you know? I was like, I can't deal with this. I didn't know what to do because I knew if I ran, I would get more months there. So I stayed there, and I tried to fight it as best as possible. And that was the breaking point for me. You know, I had just found out I had HIV, and I have all these people trying to rape me, and all I was told, if I give it to someone else, I'm going to jail. So it was like, how am I supposed to?
You never end up getting a break.
I never got a break. And even so, after that, I tell someone about human trafficking. I told them the truth. I was like, look, they asked me a few questions. Like, they have those intake forms, and they said, were you ever sold for sex or for money? And I remember saying yes, because I was only, like, I saw myself being exchanged for the first time for drugs, for money, so by a college professor. So I got dropped off at his house, and I remember being traded for like a bag of cocaine, cigarettes, and some money. And I just remember thinking, that's my worth right there. So I remember thinking that and saying, yes, I did. Because it was the first time I really connected, I'm a victim of human trafficking. So
where are you in life now? You're 19 years old.
Yes, I'm 19 years old.
So tell us where's your life now?
So now I recently just moved from St. Louis to South Florida with
welcome to the No More Tears family.
Thank you. Yes, and No More Tears. Somy has been amazing, and I'm going to finally get my education. I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to also, get an apartment. You guys are going to help decorate my apartment.
We can't wait.
Yes, I can't wait. It's just amazing. I thought my life was over. I heard earlier, like you said, you start going the self-destructive path or you help others. And my favorite saying is, when I can't help myself, I want to help others. And that's my dream.
And correct me if I'm wrong. For me, starting No More Tears and helping others has been a very therapeutic and healing process.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I think that when you do advocacy and you help others, it somehow heals you.
It definitely
in
does.
the process.
It definitely
does. So we welcome you to the family.
Thank
We're
you.
excited to move you into your new apartment.
Thank you.
We're going to register you in school next week.
Yes.
And you're starting therapy with our therapist.
Yes.
And we're so proud of you.
Thank you.
We, all of us at No More Tears, and as a survivor myself, I am so proud of you. You're a beautiful human being.
Thank you.
You're my hero.
Thank you.
You're courageous, and it's very difficult to overcome. And I know that personally.
Yeah.
And to see you smile
Thank
and
you.
to see you be positive, I salute you and I thank you. And I wish you all the best. And I know that only good things will come your way going forward.
Definitely. I believe it.
Yes, it will. It will.
You.
And thank you so much for your time today.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.